Hello everybody, my name's Ryan and I'm a driving instructor. Today, the best and worst test centres to find a test. So, great week. Weirdly, 5 driving tests and 5 passes. Astonishing. It's in the videos, I uploaded links somewhere. Put them on this week. Great stuff. Everybody passed, everybody had a great... one went the wrong way. You can see that in the video. Got stuck at a level crossing. So what? An examiner could only mark what he could see, and therefore he'd done enough driving to determine that he would pass the driving test. Today we're talking about the top 10 best and worst driving test centres to find a test at. Now it sounds a little bit weird that, but which area of the country is the best to find a driving test and which is the worst? Now, in the last week and a half, we already know that quite a lot of them, even in the north, have changed. For example, at Gosforth, you can get a driving test next week. So that's Newcastle at Gosforth, you can get a driving test next week. You can also get a driving test the week after, and the week after that, and the week after that. So they seem to have reduced the backlog. But in other areas, say like Blythe, which is now February or March, and I'll put the list up later, then why is it February or March? Why can't we have somebody from Gosforth go over to Blythe, which is only like 9 miles away or something, and do a few tests there? I don't know the answer to that. Apparently they don't multi-skill operatives between test centres. Well, they do, because we know they do, because some go from Blythe to Gosforth, and when Blythe shuts, they go to Gosforth, and when they go from Gosforth, they sometimes go up to Alnwick, and the Blythe ones go to Alnwick and Berwick, and they go all over the place, in Gateshead. They go all over the place, so I don't understand why they can't move a couple. I suppose a bit of politics there, but never mind. Anyway, so some of them have changed quite a lot from last time I did a video, and some of them haven't changed at all, and some of them got worse. But anyway, here is the top 10 best and worst driving test centres to find a test at. So this is the list of, well, the best driving test centres. However, in saying that, this list took me quite a long time to compile. When I was compiling it, actually it got blocked out of the system a couple of times, and I had to rotate my IP address using a VPN, which was fun. But anyway, 3 hours later, this is a snapshot of everything on the 1st of December 2023 at about 3 till 4 PM. The list isn't complete. There are a few things missing. There's a lot of test centres not on this list that have taken driving tests but didn't appear in the database, so I can't do anything with them if they're saying nothing. I will put this list on now of all of test centres that didn't have any bookings and were available, so I could create an alert and book at this test centre if I'd put an alert on my system. It's quite an interesting list, this, and if you can't see your name on it, don't worry so much. It's just because it's the way that the data is presented. The next list is where there was availability in 1 or 2 driving tests. So 1 or 2 driving tests available, and that was it. That was all that was available. And this list, again, is a little bit short. If your name's not on this list, again, don't worry so much. It's one of those ones where you can probably call the DVSA book. Found a lot of that with the Scottish stuff, that you probably call them to book a driving test at your local driving test centre because of the availability. Hexham used to be literally like that, and it used to be like that for a little while. So who's the biggest loser? Who is the biggest loser? Well, I'll come to that in a minute, but I'll give you my, well, let's say the worst offenders. Worst offenders being Buckie, Buxton, Halifax, Aberfeldy, Arbroath and Braddock. To be fair, with a few of them being in Scotland, there might be a request kind of service. To book a driving test there, you might have to request them through the DVSA, through a phone call, and not through the website. It might be really difficult to book those, but there was tests available on the system, so I'm not so sure about it, but they were very limited. Of course, the biggest loser is, of course, London and the South. I couldn't find hardly any driving tests anywhere in the South, at any time, in anywhere. And I found this a little bit unusual, and I really dug around and done a little bit more research in the last hour and found that nobody can book driving tests in the South. If you're a driving instructor or a pupil in that area, tell me what's going on down there. Why can't you book driving tests? Are they also on request through the DVSA through a phone call? Remember that this is just a snapshot of data. This data does change literally by the hour. I use the criteria of 3 or more tests a day and possibly more than 10 in 1 week. In some cases it works out really well, in others it doesn't. I give you a full list and a full countdown of all of the test results on the screen. As you can see, you're scrolling through right now, and we can see all of the stuff that's going to take forever to get, and then we get down effectively to our top, well, let's call it 12 or 15. We've got Bridlington, 3rd of January, Wrexham, Swansea and Norwich, Gateshead, all on the 1st of January or just after, tests around that area. We've got Dumfries and Barnsley, also the same. Edinburgh, 25th of December. Well, obviously, the test isn't on 25th December, it's just the week commencing. Coming in your ears, 18th of December, Chorley. We've got Chippenham, Airdrie. And the winner is, well, actually it's shared, Chesterfield and St Helens and Grimsby. At both of these test centres, you can get driving tests not only just next week, but you can get almost 10 tests a day for the next 6 months, which is incredible. So the guys and the test people down there, fantastic job. You know, sometimes you've got to give them praise for reducing that number. Now, not forgetting that the DVSA did say, we want to get this total down to 6 weeks. So given that it's the 1st of December a day, this video is out later on today, then, or tomorrow, depending on the edit, then what we'll look at is, we'll look at 6 weeks from now, so late January, let's say the end of January. So there are more than 200 test centres after that date. Also, the cut-off date being the 31st of March was in the email. 31st of March, well, you're looking at about 150 driving test centres. If you're getting seconded and going and doing those driving tests, those 150 test centres will never get to their target, will never reach their target, because there isn't enough people doing driving tests in their area. There's a couple there that are pretty desperate. The furthest distant driving tests that they can possibly book in the system, you're looking at the worst offenders, obviously the ones where you can't book anything, but Bury St Edmunds, Cheltenham, Dorchester, Kettering's a funny one, Leon the Solent, Loughborough, Poole, Redditch. There's quite a few on this list, and I think people should go and have a look. So, was that useful to anybody? Was that going to make somebody, say, drive from, I don't know, Ashford in Kent all the way up to Newcastle, Gosforth to find a driving test? I don't really know. I doubt it. I don't think it should. I think you should stay in your local area, really. It's not really about finding the one that's the quietest and book a test there. There were a number of ones on the list, and I'll put a big list in about where there were 0 tests available, probably because they're a book in advance thing where you've got to phone the DVSA to actually get that information. Certain ones in Scotland, for example, they're on request, and you can only book them on request. Today is the 1st of December, so as it's the 1st of December, it snowed here and I couldn't do any lessons. Frustrating as it is, I couldn't do any lessons because I considered the safety and the risk of my pupils, and I felt that it wasn't fair on them to go out in the car in the snow. Yeah, it's fun for the first 10 minutes, and then it gets a bit stupid really. So for safety's sake, if it's cold or if it's snowing over the next week, don't go out. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little video. If you did, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.